members of the media, members of the public, in terms of the progress that has been made by the municipality in ensuring that the water supply, particularly in the northern areas of the city, Otongati, Verolem, and other areas which have been affected by water supply. So Mayor will be giving that report. I must also indicate that Mayor is being accompanied by the city officials who are led by the city manager, Babun Bele, who is also accompanied by the head of water and sanitation, Babun Swede, who we all know. And Babun Swede is with the deputy head, Mr. Shabalala, who is also coming from the water and sanitation department. So with that, members of the media, I would like to welcome you. Thank you for being here. And I would also like to invite Babu Mayor to read the statement. After that, I will invite members of the media to ask clarity-seeking questions. In the past few weeks, Babu Mayor has been receiving a number of media queries which are water-related. So I'm happy that this platform will provide the members of the media with that opportunity of clarity-seeking questions, and the city will be able to answer and clarify all the processes and programs that are in place in order to see to it that the water supply is restored, to see to it that the infrastructure that has been damaged by the heavy rains is being repaired. With that, I thank you, and I'd like to invite Babu Mayor to present his statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ntsele, our acting head of communication, our capable and performing city manager, Mr. Mbele, who's leading the administration, Mr. Msweli and Mr. Shabalala from water and sanitation, all the media houses present, and members of the public who are following us in different social media platforms and mass media platforms. Sanbona, good afternoon. Thank you for finding time in your busy schedule to be with us here to attend this media briefing that we have convened as leadership of the city to outline our interventions that we are implementing at the present moment in terms of improving how we deliver water services to our communities. We will also use this platform to update members of the media and of the public on the recovery efforts that we have put in motion to respond to the January 13 heavy rains that attacked us as the city. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to state from the outset that the eThekwini municipality has a population of over 4 million, and the majority of residents are receiving water as we speak. However, rapid urbanization brought about by people moving from rural areas to the city in search of work opportunities and economic opportunities. This has put more strain in our budget and in our infrastructure. That's why we experience aging infrastructure as well as vandalism that's put more pressure on the existing infrastructure of our city. Currently, our water supply is as follows. In our West region, water supply is sitting at 95%, and areas that remain affected including Nagina, Beechwood, and Marion Ridge. In the Outer West region, our supply is at 75%, and areas currently affected with no water supply include parts of KwaXimba, Sankonje, Shongweni, Zwelibomvu, Hammersdale, Inwabi, and Ngonyameni. In the Central region, we are sitting at 100% water supply. South region, the supply is sitting at 80%, and areas still affected with no water supply include Kwamakuta, Adams Mission, Athlone Park, Mfume System, and following. In the northern region, supply is seated at 80%, and areas affected are Inanda, Ntuzuma, Kwamashu, Verelem, Trenens Park, Parkgate, and Phoenix, and Mount Ashcombe. The water supply in these areas affected areas can be attributed to, among other things, the damage caused by the recent floods, aging infrastructure, and vandalism of our infrastructure. With regards to the issue of vandalism, we again wish to plead with communities to work with us to look after our municipal infrastructure. These are the number of interventions that we have put in place. Let's start with the southern part of the region. In the south, one of the short and to medium term solutions we are currently implementing to address challenges faced by these communities is to fix the 24-kilometer southern aqueduct, which was decommissioned as it had deteriorated to the point of being prone to major leaks. A detailed project plan has been developed to implement this project within a period of 12 months once all supply chain processes have been finalized by the city. We have asked the city manager and the CFO to monitor this process closely so that at least by March this year, an appointed contractor must be on site. The municipality has set aside 1.2 billion rand to implement this project, which will bring much needed relief to downstream areas in the south of Durban, including Chatsworth, Shallcross, St. Windolins, Nagina, North Dean, Queensborough, Wilpidach, Umlazi, following Nsimbini, and Gologoto area. As much as we are preparing for these to be initiated to respond to the Southern Aqueduct, already there are plans that have been approved to start working on the first phases of this project, which will expect that at least by April we should start seeing the difference in some of these areas. It is important to highlight that while the construction work is ongoing on this pipeline, the supply of water will continue, as we'll be undertaking minor repairs on the existing pipes. Ladies and gentlemen, what has also compounded water challenges in the south of Durban was the wash away of South Coast Augmentation Gravity Pipeline during the storms, which affected supply to all South Coast areas in the region. Repairs to the pipeline have already been completed and water in most areas was restored, except for Wamakuta, parts of Athlone Park, Mfume, and parts of Adams Mission. We are anticipating restoring water supply in these areas by first week of February, those which are still outstanding in the system. Excuse me. In the northern areas, colleagues, we are aware that communities of Ntuzuma, Inanda, Lindelan, and Guamashu have been experiencing water challenges as a result of the damage to the pump station after it caught fire. Currently, this pump station is operating at 50% of its capacity. The municipality will be upgrading the entire pump station at a cost of 35 million rand since it has reached its design life, and the project will commence in March this year. Ladies and gentlemen, as a result of the recent heavy rains, areas supplied by Hazelmere Dam or Hazelmere Waterworks experienced water outages due to poor water quality in the system. This affected areas such as Waterloo, Ottawa, Parkgate, and Redcliffe. After this, there was a burst rising main from Hazelmere to Grange Reservoir, and this interrupted water supply to Redcliffe and Buffelsdry areas. Repairs to this system have been completed, and water supply was restored as of Tuesday and this week, and we are hoping that if there are those who are still outstanding, they will be joining others to start receiving water. Let me now move to Phoenix and Verela. Ladies and gentlemen, for the past 3 months, we have been experiencing constrained water supply in areas such as Verela, Utongati, and Phoenix, because the Northern Aqueduct has not been performing optimally since we have been experiencing all these challenges. This has resulted in constrained input volumes into the Mount View Reservoir, which impacts downstream reservoirs, namely Trenance 1 and 3 reservoirs. Various interventions are being implemented, which include checking possible leaks and blockages on the 32-kilometer long trunk main. Other interventions include replacement of all air valves in the trunk main and changeover of the bulk supply. Yesterday, our technical teams met with Umgeni Utugela Water to finalize this process. What the changeover effectively means is that Reservoir 3 at the Durban Heights, which has been supplying the northern aqueduct, will now supply the southern aqueduct. Reservoir 2, which has been supplying the southern aqueduct, is now supplying the northern aqueduct. I know this is too technical. Those who are technicians will take you through that exercise. But as long as you still follow me, that northern and the south, we are still together. As we have indicated that the changeover started yesterday, our teams today have shut all our reservoir supplies by this pipeline to build capacity and to identify the leaks in the system. This test will be able to tell us where we are losing water, which result in the shortage of water supply in Durban North, Phoenix, Umhlanga, and Verulam. These interventions are expected to be completed in the second week of February. However, some areas may have their water supply restored earlier as interventions are progressing. To further clarify our interventions to address the water issues in Phoenix and in Verulam, the leadership of the municipality will be meeting the community of these areas on Saturday, the 27th of January 2024 at Shastri Park Community Hall at 4 o'clock. We urge all committee members to join us in this effort to find lasting solutions. So we are inviting committee members to be part of this committee engagement, where we'll be able to outline the interventions on all the challenges that are affecting the community of Verulam and communities of Phoenix. We'll further engage communities in other areas on Sunday, where through public engagements that will be held, we'll be able to engage those committees. Other details will be furnished to you in due course. Utongati. In Utongati, we have restored water through an alternative supply from the Utongati water treatment works to the Belvedere Reservoir to supply the Utongati South Reservoir. We are pleased to report that residents in the area have already started to receive intermittent supply through this intervention. However, we state that this is a temporary measure while our teams are fixing the Metcalf bulk pipeline and another water pipeline that carries water from Utongati South Reservoir, which were washed away by the recent floods. Whilst we are on the recovery, but the excessive floods that visit us also exacerbate the challenges. In the Wakimba area, the demand is exceeding supply, and currently 50% of the area receive piped water, and the rest of the community relies on water tankers. To address this situation, the municipality had begun with the upgrade of the trunk main from Keto Ridge Reservoir to Wakimba area. Ladies and gentlemen, all the interventions we have outlined above are short and to medium term interventions. The lasting solution to water challenges in the city will be the construction and commissioning of the Upper Mkomazi Dam. This project will be implemented jointly by eThekwini Municipality, National Department of Water and Sanitation through its agency, Trans-Caledon Tunnel Authority, the TCTA, and Umgeni Utugela Water. Processes have begun to get this project underway. As you'll also note that when the minister was here, we made these commitments in Imbizo at Umlazi. In relation to water tankers, while we are implementing these interventions, we are ensuring that communities continue to receive water through water tankers in the affected areas. Since the number of communities who are experiencing water challenges has increased, we have instructed the officials through the city manager to increase the number of water tankers in this area. That's a process in motion to add other water tankers. You may recall that last year, the municipality procured 55 new water tankers to respond to water shortages, and provide some relief to affected communities. Moreover, in our efforts to significantly increase capacity, 100 new additional water tankers will be delivered before the end of May this year. In the meantime, since our fleet is not coping with the current demand, we are finalizing the process of hiring additional water tankers. In relation to drilling of boreholes, to provide clean potable water, particularly in rural areas, the municipality is investing in boreholes as another source of water supply in those affected areas. Currently, the city is drilling 40 boreholes in 21 rural wards. To date, 20 boreholes have been drilled, and they will be commissioned once we are satisfied with the quality of water. The municipality is also exploring alternative water solutions such as water reuse and desalination program. We are pleased to report that currently we are piloting 2 water reuse projects at our 2 wastewater treatment plants, and we are certain that the cities advance when compared to other cities with these reuse programs. Update on recent heavy rains. We also want to update the public that a detailed report outlining the impact of the recent infrastructural damage as a result of the recent heavy rains have been finalized. The infrastructure damage the city has suffered amounts to 1.4 billion rands as a result of houses, roads, and stormwater, community halls, and public health facilities that were damaged. Unfortunately, 9 people lost their lives. Once again, we would like to convey our condolences to the families of the deceased, and as a caring government, we are working closely with those bereaved families who qualify through our policy to ensure that their loved ones receive a dignified burial. The cost can be quantified as follows. Engineering, 999 million rands. Human settlements, 282.3 million rands. Health facilities, 1 million rand. Parks and recreation, 7.1 million rands. Water and sanitation, 118.8 million rands. Engineering, which includes roads, provision, and stormwater, was the hardest hit unit, and we are pleased that work to make the following roads traversable has begun in the city. Trenance Park Access Road in Verulam, backfilling of Zwelicha Bridge and Umhlasini low-level crossing, Rinaldo Road in Durban North, Campbell Crescent in North Dean, Newlands Drive in Umhlanga, Lipa Mabena Road in Ward 77, Lindiwe Zulu Avenue also in Ward 77, Papa Mkanyana Road in Ward 94, and Umfisane Road in Ward 107. There are many other activities that are taking place on the ground to repair our infrastructure. While water infrastructure is still being repaired, we're able to restore electricity supply in most areas that are affected in a short of time. We did this within a short space of time. Our teams are continuing to monitor the system and promptly respond to faults that are being reported. Clean-up operations were also conducted successfully as our teams responded swiftly to remove fallen trees and debris on several roads. As leadership of the city, we wish to apologize to the residents of the city for all the inconvenience caused by the current situation. We want to assure you that we will not rest until we have restored the supply of clean water to every community that have been affected in our city. Lastly, we want to appeal to the residents of eThekwini that while we understand their frustration of not receiving services as expected, let us not block or prevent municipal workers to come in our areas to conduct repairs to our infrastructure, especially because our teams are already on the ground to accelerate the processes of restoring services to the affected communities. With those few words, we wish to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the public. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor, for the statement. At this point in time, I would like to invite the Honorable Mayor to read the statement in Isisu. In the meantime, I would also like to acknowledge the presence of our deputy manager for the services, emergency services, Vala Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Siyabonga kakhulu ngokuthi niphumelele kakhulukazi amathemba ezindaba abezindaba khona phakathi kwethu kulesithangami esizocacisa kuso ngenhlelo zokubuyisela amanzi eindaweni ezithintekile kanjalo nenhlelo zethu zokuvuselela inqalasizinda nokubuyisela isimo kwesijwayelekile emva kwemvula ezibe namandla kakhulu ngoJanuary 13. Mangiqale nje ngonikhumbuza ukuthi umkhandlu ethe kunabantu abangaphezulu kwegidi ezine. Kodwa ke siyafisa ukusho ukuthi izinkombi zabantu ezifudukele emadolobheni ngoba zithungatha amathuba emsebenzi namathuba ezomnotho zenza ke kube nzima kakhulu kwesinye isikhathi ukuhlinzeka kwethu idinga emphakathini ngoba kuthinta isabelo zimali sethu ngoba kufanele sigijimise inhlelo zokubalethela izinsiza ebeyikade ezinye zazo zingakade zihlinzekelwe kwisabelo seyimali kakhulukazi uma ukhuluma ngenqalasizinda kulezo indawo ezigcwele abantu abaningi kakhulu. Njengamanje ukuhlinzeka kwamanzi eThekwini kumngalendlela. Uma ubheka ukuhlinzeka kwamanzi esentshonalanga emphakathini kuhlezi ku-95% wamaphesenti kakhulukazi indawo ezithintekile ezingenawo amanzi iNagina, iBeachwood neMaranridge. Esifundeni sasentshonalanga engaphandle ukuhlinzeka kwamanzi kuhlezi ku-75%, kanti izindawo ezingakabi namanzi zihlanganisa ingxenye zakwaXimba, iSankonje, iShongweni, iZwelibomvu, iHammersdale, iNwabi neNgonyameni. Isifunda esimaphakathi neTheku sihlezi ku-100% ngokuhlinzeka kwamanzi. Isifunda seningizimu sihlezi ku-80%, kanti indawo ezingakabi namanzi ihlanganisa kwaMakhutha, Adams Mission, Atton Park, eMfume naseFolweni. Isifunda senyakatho siku-80% wamaphesenti, kanti indawo ezithintekayo ezingenayo amanzi iNanda, iNtuzuma, kwaMashu, iVerulam, Trenens Park, iParkgate, iPhoenix neMandeshko. Excuse me. Ukuphazamiseka kwamanzi kulezi indawo ezithintekile kudalwe umonakalo wezikhukhula zakamuva, inqalasizinda yethu esikhombisa ukungakhophi kahle ngenxa ukuthi seyindala, nokucekelwa phansi kwempahla kamasipala kakhulukazi inqalasizinda yethu yokudluliswa kwamanzi kanye nogesi nezinye izidingo. Siyaphinda ke futhi sinxusa umphakathi ukuthi ayibe kunye nathi ukuvuselela inqalasizinda yethu ngokuthi sibambisane futhi siyivikele ingadicilelwa phansi. Inhlelo ke eziqhubekayo ngaseSouth eningizimu yeTheku. Phakathi kwixazululo zenkinga zamanzi eningizimu yeTheku kubalwa kulungiswa kwepayipi elikhulu iSouthern Aqueduct elibalelwa ku-24 km ubude balo elayeka ukusebenza ngenxa yokuvuza kakhulu. Umasipala kusuhlinzeke isabelo zimali esingango-1.2 billion ozosiza kulolu hlelo oluzohlomula kulona eChatsworth, iShallcross, iSt Windolins, iNagina, iNorth-Dean, iQueensborough, iWilpidad, uMlazi, eFolweni, iNsimbini neGolokodo. Zonke ke lezi zinhlelo zethu zokuvuselelwa kwaleli payipi izokwazi ukuthi ziqale zibonakala izithelo zakhona. Silindeleke ukuthi noma kanjani ngoMarch inkampani bese appointiwe maqala uMarch ezoqala yenze lo msebenzi. Kodwa ukhona umsebenzi wesikhashana ukulungisa okwesikhashana owenziwayo okuzodala ukuthi amanzi aqale ukutholakala kuleyo ndawo engezwe amanzi esiwathumela kuleyo ndawo. Siyafisa ke futhi ukucacisa ukuthi kuphinde ke kwenzeka ke isigameko esikhulu ngoba iSouth Coast Augmentation Gravity Pipeline okuyipipe elikhulu elapha ngaseShield Albert Luthuli Hospital eliphakela lezi indawo eziningi zaseSouth zibe nenkinga ke uma ngabe kwenzeka izikhukhula ngoba lelo pipe linqamukile amanzi angabe saphuma. Unqamuka kwalelo pipe kusho ukuthi indawo eziningi ayikwazanga ukuthi sithole amanzi ngendlela elendele ngayo. Sibese selilungisa ngokusheshsha leli pipe. Selungile sebeqalile kabanye kwathola amanzi, kodwa ngenxa ukuthi ama reservoirs ethayaphuza ukugcwala kuzothi kuthatha isikhathi ukuthi bonke begcine sebewathole ngesikhathi, kodwa sinethemba lokuthi iningi labantu lizowathola ngokukhulu ukusheshsha amanzi. Indawo esenyakatho enorth boza kwethu siyazi ukuthi umphakathi waseNtuzuma eNanda elindelana nakwaMashu ukuba nephazamisa kakhulu ngengqinamba zamanzi esibhekane nazo ngenxa yokuthi kwasha isiteshi okuyisona esilekela ukuthi simpompa amanzi noma siphampe amanzi siwayise emphakathini, siwahlinzeke emphakathini. Njengamanje ke kusebenza ingxenye nje ewu-50% okuyingxenye wamaphesenti kulesi sikhungo esiphampa amanzi siwayise emphakathini wakithi. Umasipala ke uzosebenzisa imali engango-35 million rand ukuthi kuqalwe lo msebenzi ngoMarch kulonyaka. Lo msebenzi wokulungisa ngokuphelele ukuthi sibuyele 100% lesi sikhungo samanzi. Ngenxa imvula ke ezinamandla zakamuva indawo eyihlinzekwa iHazelmere iWaterworks ziye zaphazamiseka kakhulu ukulungiswa kwalesi sikhungo. Sekuqediwe ke njengoba tinqamuke leli pipe elikhulu kulezi indawo zase-south zase-north. Ngakho ke amanzi asebuyile kweminye imiphakathi silindele ukuthi noma kanjani makungena esontweni lesibili noma esontweni lokuqala kuFebruary bekwazi ukuthi bebe sebewatholile amanzi. iPhoenix neVerulam kule zinyanga ke intathu ezedlule sibhekane nenkinga kuhlinzeka kwamanzi eindaweni ezifana neVerulam, uThongathi, iPhoenix ngenxa ukuthi ipipe elikhulu elibizwa ngeNorthern Aqueduct belingasebenzi ngendlela ekulindeleke ngayo. Sinezinhlelo ke ezahlukahlukene eziqhubekayo ukulungisa lesi simo, okubalwa kuzona ukuhlola lapho okungenzeka ukuthi amanzi avuza ngakhona noma la kulinyazwe ngakhona inqalasizinda yethu. Ezinye ke inhlelo zifaka ukushintshwa kwawo wonke ama-valves ethu okuyizinto ezenza ukuthi amanzi aphume kule ndawo siwafake kabusha siwahlinzeke ngenqalasizinda ke ukuthi ikwazi ukusebenza ngendlela ekulindeleke ngayo. Idamu lokugcina kamanzi ireservoir 3 esesikhungweni iDurban Height Treatment Works ebelikade lihlinzeka iNorthern Aqueduct ukuze lihlinzeke iSouthern Aqueduct. Sizokwenza lo mehluko noma lelo guquko lokuthi sishintshe ngaleyo ndlela amapipe indlela azobe ehlinzeka ngawo indawo ezahlukahlukene. Ureservoir 2 obukade uhlinzeka iSouthern Aqueduct manje usuzohlinzeka iNorthern Aqueduct. Lolu shintsho ke liqale izolo kanti amathimba ethu namhlanje avale wonke amadamu ethu ukwenza sikwazi ukuhlolisisa kahle ukuze sikwazi nokugcwalisa amanzi kulamadamu kuphinde kuhlonzwe lapho kuvuza khona. Lokho kuzosiza ke sikwazi ukuthi konke sobe sikwenza ikuphi lapho lahlekelwa khona ngamanzi kakhulu nokholela ekutheni kushode amanzi kakhulukazi eDurban North, ePhoenix, eMhlanga naseVerulam. Kulendeleke ukuthi lo msebenzi uphothule ngesonto lesibini February nokho ezinye indawo zingase zisheshe zibuyiselwe amanzi njengoba umsebenzi uqhubeka on the ground. Ubuholi bukamasipala buzohlangana nomphakathi wasePhoenix waseVerulam ngomgqibelo lo esiyabona mhla ka-27 kuJanuwari ehholo lomphakathi iShaftesbury Park ngo-4 ntambama. Sinxusa ke amalungu omphakathi ukuthi ahlanganyele nathi sobambisana ekutholeni izixazululo esibhekene na kulezi inkinga nengqinamba esibhekene nazo. KuThongathi sisebenzisa isikhungo uThongathi Water Treatment Works ukuphakela amanzi edamini Belvedere Reservoir ukuze siwaphakele uThongathi South Reservoir. Izakhamuzi ke sesiqalile ukuhlinzeka ngamanzi ngesikhathi ezithile. Lokhu kuyisinyathelo sesikhashana esizosetshenziswa ngenkathi amathimba ethu esalungisa ipayipi iMetcalf bulk pipeline nelinye ipayipi elithola amanzi asuka oThongathi South Reservoir eligugulwe izikhukhula zakamuva. Endaweni yakwaXimba isidingo samanzi singaphezulu kwamanzi akhona, kodwa ke abantu abayingxenye u-50% uyawathola amanzi kule ndawo. Enye ingxenye sihlinzeka amanzi ngokuhambisa izimoto ezihambisa amanzi emphakathini. Lokhu-ke umasipala usuqalile ukulungisa ipayipi elikhulu elisuka eCattle Ridge Reservoir liye endaweni yakwaXimba esithemba ukuthi kuzokwenza omkhulu umehluko kuloya mphakathi. Yize sinalezi-ke sinalezi zinhlelo esizibale ngenhla ezilethe ixazululo okuyizona ngalesikhathi sizokwazi ukuthi kuphothulwe imisebenzi eminingi kuhlinzekwa kwabantu amanzi. Kodwa isixazululo sangunaphakade ukuthi kwakhiwe leli damu elibizwa nge-Upper Mkomazi Dam. Lelu hlelo-ke lizokwenza ukuthi sikwazi ukuhlinzeka amanzi ngendlela ekulindeleke ngayo kumphakathi waseThekwini. Umnyango wezamanzi nokuthuthukiswa kwendle kuzwelonke nomngeni water sibambisene kahle nawo ukuthi siphuthumise lolu hlelo lwe-Upper Mkomazi Dam. Amaloli amanzi kuyiqiniso-ke ukuthi amaloli esinawo awenele kodwa siwakhiphile kulezi indawo ezithintekile ngenxa yesimo samanzi. Sike saba-ke nokuthatha isinqumo sokuthi amaloli awu-55 siwathenge lawo sesiwathengile kamasipala. Sibonile ukuthi engathi umsebenzi ushoda kakhulu, kufanele siqhubeke nokuthenga amanye amaloli kamasipala kwenza singamoshi imali eziningi kulabe sobaqasha ukuhlinzeka ngosizo lamaloli. Sizothenga kamanye awu-100 lawo maloli alindele ukuthi afike edolobheni lethu ngaphambi kokuthi kuphele uMeyi. Siphinde sabuka ezinye indlela zokungenelela kulezi inkinga. Lezo indlela zifaka phakathi kumbiwe phansi kulandwe amanzi phansi through ama-boreholes. Lolu hlelo-ke uhlelo oluzokwenza ama-boreholes awu-40 emawadini awu-21. Seliqaliwe lolu hlelo, amanye asephothuliwe sekuseleni ukuhlolisiswa amanzi nequality yamanzi ukuthi imi kanjani. Kwamanye sizofaka ama-gadget okuhlanzisisa kahle amanzi nokwehlisa izinga likasawoti ukwenza ukuthi abantu bethole amanzi ahlanzekile. Lolu hlelo-ke liyaqala-ke. Uma-ke sibheka nezinye indlela nje ezikhona emhlabeni wonke jikelele ezisetshenziswayo zokuhlinzeka abantu ngamanzi, sikwazile ukuthi sibheke nathi uhlelo lokuthi kanjani masilanda amanzi lapho olwandle sikwazi ukuwahlanza siwahlinzeke emphakathini. Uhlelo-ke sesiliqalile lolu luhlezi njengamanje ekusiletheni namanzi awu-6,000 kiloliters. Uhlelo-ke olunye lwesibini ileli lokuthi amanzi sikwazi ukuwa-recyclisha siwabuyisele etheni abuye asebenze ahlanzwe asebenze. Uhlelo-ke sesiqale ey'khungweni noma ey'phehleni manzi zethu ezikhona la edolobheni ey'mbili ezizoqala lolu hlelo. Imvula-ke ey'namandla zakamumva zezumonakalo omkhulu edolobheni laseThekwini, imigwaqo ilimele, amabhriji, ugesi, iy'khungo ey'phehla ugesi ney'hlinzeka ugesi, izindlu zomphakathi. Sikhuluma lapha ngamapayipi amakhulu amanzi ahlinzeka imiphakathi ehlukahlukene. Wonke-ke lo monakalo wenzeke ukuthi uma sesibala kahle sibheka kahle ukuthi umonakalo ungalingiselwa kumalini wafinyelela ku-1.4 billion rand. Lokhu-ke okwenziwa ukuthi kumele-ke siqhubeke nomsebenzi wokulungisa yonke le nqalasizinda ethintekile. Siyafisa-ke futhi ukudlulisa amazwi enduduzo emndenini yalabo abayishagalolunye abawu-9 abadlulile emhlabeni ngenxa lezikhukhula. Sifisa ukuthi uNkulunkulu abaqinise abanikeza amandla ubhekana nalesimo ababhekene naso kulesi sikhathi esinzima. Sifuna-ke futhi ukusho ukuthi njengomasipala weTheku kuningi-ke nokukhulu esizokwenza kulekelela leyo mndeni okuyiyona ngokwenqubomgomo kamasipala yokubalekelela ukuthi befihle abathandiweyo kwabo ngezizotha sikwazi ukubalekelela ngaleyo ndlela. Nakuba-ke inqalasizinda-ke isalungiswa kodwa sikwazile ukuthi ugesi siwubuyisele ey'ndaweni ey'ningi ebeyinqanyukelwe ugesi ngesikhathi esifishane kakhulu. Sikhuluma ngey'ndawo ezinye esilungisa imigwaqo yakhona sayibuyisela esimweni. Sikhuluma ngama-bridge amanye njengasezwelisha nakwezinye indawo ama-bridge esiwalungisayo njengoba sikhuluma ukuze isimo sibuyele kwesijwayelekile ngoba lawo ama-bridge awelisa abantwana beya ey'koleni ngaphesheya. Ngakho konke lokhu sikuthathe sakubeka kwabasemahlombe ethu njengomasipala waseThekwini ukuthi inqalasizinda yethu asheshe siyilungise ibuyele esimweni abantu impilo yabo ikwazi ukuqhubeka ngendlela ejwayelekile. Sengiphetha-ke sifuna unxusa-ke izakhamuzi zaseThekwini ukuthi nakuba sikuqonde ukuthi abaphathekile kahle ngenxa yesimo sokungabi namanzi nezinye izidingo, kodwa sifisa ukubanxusa ukuthi asingavimbike imigwaqo, asingavali imigwaqo, ngoba uma senza kanjalo sovimbela abasebenzi bakamasipala abaseyinhlelweni ezinhle kakhulu zokubuyisela amanzi emphakathini wakithi, nokubuyisela ugesi, nokulungisa imigwaqo elimele. Sinxusa ukuthi umphakathi sibambisane nawo, siyazi kumele ukuthi ucasuke noma ube nokungaphatheki kahle ngalesi simo, kodwa ke sicabanga ukuthi ukubambisana ikona okuzoletha ixazululo kuzo zonke lezi zimo esibhekene nazo, futhi sidlule okuyinzima kakhulu kumafloods ka-2022, namanje sizodlula kulokho esibhekane nakho. Okubalulekile kuba nethemba lenqubekela phambili nempilo. Siyabona.
Siphinde sibonge kakhulu kukameya ngomlilo asetshenziswa wona ngokusebenza ukuqhubekayo njengamanje ukulungisa lezi ngasize emva kwezimvula esinazo. Members of the media, there you have it. Now is the time for the question and answer sessions. The statement will be uploaded on the social media platforms. I think shortly it will be prepared for the contact of I will now open the floor for questions or any clarification questions. The mayor will be assisted by the officials in answering the questions. I will invite members of the media and ask them to introduce themselves. Also mentioning the name of the media house you're coming from and question as well. The floor is open to any question you may have. Let's see what hand, second hand, third hand. I don't know what's happening. All right, we'll have a question about the white number 2, number 3, number 4.
Sanibona igama from Ilapho School. Ukuze ukuthi lo mali wa-1.4 billion khona lapho ukhabaza lenzokucela ku-treasury noma imali engaphakathi okwesibili ngicela ukuthola i-time frame after uMarch eseqokiwe uzoluleka uzolungisa, but i-time frame enibekele ezobekela yona because sibonile ukuthi ama-delays kulapha ama-problems abekhona enhlelweni ebezenzele before. Kukhona ingqalasizinda eseside ukuthi ilungisiwe kukhona mhlawumbe imigomo ezobekela yona osokhona ukuthi by this time kanele besokulungile kuba manje.
The first question is, in Children's Park, residents have said that there are limits and for 3 months. But the reasons for this challenge to supply water to the residents is only documented, or are there other reasons that have contributed to challenges getting water to them? For example, in the south, the aqueducts, the decommissioning of the aqueducts contributed to water supply issues. So in the north, is there an additional reason or additional reasons why these residents have not had water for 3 months? The second question is, some residents have complained that the water from the tankers are making them sick. They specifically mentioned diarrhea and their body is itching. So I'd like you to perhaps let us say to the residents what should they be using this tanker water for and how should they use the water. And then the third question is, if possible, how many tankers are being sent to these affected areas per day? Thank you.
Thank you, Karen, for the question.
Looking at the water tankers that you say have been provided for communities as a relief measure, does the municipality incur more cost in this regard? I would believe with these water tankers are to drive into different communities. There's an amount of gas that is needed. Which one is much cheaper rather than fixing this or having the water tankers visiting these communities? Secondly, the DA in the province has written to the South African Human Rights Commission in this regard. accused the city and the municipality under your leadership for violating human rights in this regard. Have you received any communication from the party or the Human Rights Commission in this regard? And also, what do you make out of the DA's complaint to the Human Rights Commission against you and the city? That's confirmed.
Thank you. That was question number 3. That was question number 4.
Good afternoon. Also wanted to confirm this before. So, Mayor, whenever these floods are anticipated in the South African Weather Service issues warnings, the municipality usually follows up saying that contingency teams are on standby and they are ready to intervene. But yet, every time there are floods, there are communities that stay weeks without water and electricity. So how do you justify that every time there are heavy rains, people in Tomat, Wamashu, etc., stay weeks without water and electricity? And who in the municipality is supposed to address that? With the dam project, the 35 million rand project in Wamashu, why did you wait until it reaches life for you to implement the new project?
Thank you. That will be all for now. I will now invite our mayor to respond to the questions.
Yeah, we'll start with the city manager and the team, then I will summarize and end.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mayor. Greetings to the members of the media houses, the representatives that are here. Greetings to Deputy City Manager Kumete and the Head of Water and Sanitation. And thank you very much for those questions, colleagues. I think in response to Mr. Lucky Kane's question, we will always go and request national government to support us. So they are still doing their own assessments. We will hear from them about the declaration, because the declaration in terms of the Disaster Management Act will have to be done by the National Treasury, and that triggers all kinds of responses from the state. So we have engaged with them. We have submitted to them the impact of this disaster, and accordingly we are waiting for them to process it. In terms of the contractor, there are different contractors and there are different projects, so it's going to be very difficult to state one specific deadline. The damage is so huge. If you remember from the previous damage, we had 751 projects already. So here we are still conceptualizing the response, in detail. So, but you can tell that the damage is more or less similar to that. But what I can assure the people of South Africa and the people of Durban in particular is that this city does respond and respond timeously. If you look at the scale of disasters, particularly the major ones, we've responded so swiftly such that we were able to restore functionality of this city within a matter of hours. Of course, we do have areas, particularly in the north and some of the areas in the south where it's taking slightly longer. Of course, that is a function of budget availability, but also it's a function of a wide range of other factors. One key factor to note is that this city has received more than average rainfall. So those people who are climatologists that always share with us information, they are saying the last 5 or 6 months have been the wettest months of the year, where we've experienced more rainy days than we usually get. Now, if you get a situation like that, everybody knows that substantial wetness is an enemy of construction progress. You know, to use that expression, which means that if it is wet, you can't go and start any construction or building projects. But it also means that you have to wait for, you know, a number of days, sometimes weeks, depending on the soil conditions of a particular area that you are dealing with, before you can start with construction. So now, if you have rain every other third day, that does have an impact on construction progress. So we do have the figures of that extent of the rainfall. And these things are, as a result of climate change, manifesting. What the scientists told us many decades ago, it is now manifesting across the globe. So most of you might have seen how the earthquakes and the range of tsunamis that were experienced across the globe in the month of January. We are not spared from that. Being the city on the eastern seaboard, we are more exposed to these things compared to other places. Even in central places like Gauteng, they have been experiencing these particular problems. So they will have an impact on how you progress with your construction. Karen, I'm going to leave it for Erdnik to explain really. I doubt if it has been that long for people in Trenance Park without water. Because the problems, which I'm not going to delve in, and I'm going to request Ethnic to do, they've started after, you know, particular incidents, which he's going to refer to. But I doubt if it has been that long. But it doesn't matter. Any day that goes without water is torturous, to say the least. And Ethnic just prepared to respond to that one and give all the reasons. No. Once I'm done with the summary. It's for the first time that I'm hearing people saying they've fallen sick as a result of consuming water that have come from the water tankers. I think Season Ethnic will be able to respond to that, but it's something that we really would like to investigate, because we pride ourselves in providing cleanest water. So if there is something like that, it is worth investigation, serious and quick and swift investigation. And Nhlanhla, your observation, my brother, is very spot on. It does cost a little, not even a little bit more, it does cost more to tanker water and use that as a mechanism of providing water to the communities. It is expensive. That's why it was meant to be a short-term, quick intervention, so that we quickly revert back to a normal or conventional way of providing water. So it is unfortunate. It is not our first choice, but we have a responsibility to ensure that this human right, access to water, is maintained all the time. But we are working around the clock to ensure that we move people back to conventional supply, as opposed to using the tankered water service. The mayor will respond to the DA thing. So I'm looking at Nhlanhla, I'm looking at, sorry, I might confuse you guys, sorry. I remember that the question came from this side, but I'm looking at that side. But at least you are in the room. So the mayor will respond to that, a question specifically about the DA and what does that mean. No, that was Nkosinathi Duma that raised. Okay, sorry, Enkos Corner. I was still gonna come to you. I was responding to Nhlanhla about the cost of tankering service and the DA's letter to Human Rights Commission. Lwandle Mfoka Duma. We do want to quickly deal with the impact of the disaster in a matter of weeks, and we are done. But as I said in my preamble, a kind of a response, that even cities that are very well advanced in disaster responsiveness, such as Tokyo, they still go a couple of months without totally restoring life as people know it. So it depends on the scale of the disaster. These things are coming in short succession, which means that whilst we are still trying to find our feet in terms of the previous disaster, you get another one. So it's a cyclical process that makes it very difficult for us to confirm that within weeks or days we will be able to restore all areas to their original state. That is the problem. I don't think there is any other locality in any part of the world that can be able to do that, because nobody could anticipate. In actual fact, Lwandle, it reminds me of one person who was saying to me, because you knew that your city is located in the eastern seaboard, it's experiencing this problem of climate change. Why don't you plan for it? I said, I wish I lived in that world where you just plan for it, you anticipate what the impact is, and you'll be able to restore every part of the city to its original state within a matter of weeks. What we are experiencing now defies planning as we know it. It's of a mammoth scale, such that I was making an example of a bridge. You think you have planned the widest bridge ever so that when the next rainfall, given its frequency, does come by, you'll be able to make that bridge to withstand the impact. But guess what? The banks on which the banks of the river on which the bridge or the span was anchored, they got washed away during this rain. So no amount of planning. We will try. We will have to plan. We will have to build back better. But we also pride ourselves in this city, as I learned in my responses. We pride ourselves as having the best climate change strategies, and the only city, probably until fairly recently, that has a climate action plan, where we've been able to strategize about how we are going to deal with climate change. But guess what? We are still hit, notwithstanding all those strategies. But I do believe that if we didn't have those strategies in place, the situation would be worse. Things such as the early warning system would have lost more lives and what have you. So it's the reality that we will have to live with, and it's not only prevalent here in Durban, but we are doing our best to ensure that we deal with this problem. Maybe through you, I would like to give Ethnic an opportunity to just respond to the questions that we may have not answered.
Okay, greetings, colleagues, greetings by Mayor and City Manager, DCMs. I'll just respond to the question about Trenance Park. I think there was a question what the root cause of the problem is. Well, where it started was after the shutdown by Umgenwater. Remember, there was a shutdown, 18-hour shutdown in November last year. So the uniqueness about Trenance Park is that it's at the end of the northern aqueduct. So water starts from Reservoir Hills at Tebet Heights, and they are the furthest. This is actually where the whole pipeline ends. So it will then take them very long to recover. So we still have a problem, and maybe I'll use a platform that I have just to talk about what's happening today, because there's some areas today that don't have water. Because from about 3 a.m. in the morning, or early parts of this morning, we have shut the inlets to most of the reservoirs. This is to deal precisely with that problem of Trenance Park. So what we are doing today is close the water going to reservoirs so that all the water as much as possible stays in the pipeline, in this pipeline that we call Northern Aqueduct. We want to pressurize it so that you can see if there is a leak that we haven't picked up before, because we've been up and down the pipeline a number of times. So today we thought just close everything, and that's the exercise we're busy with right now. Okay, but because it's an exercise that we are in control over, later on we are going to open the reservoir outlets and to store water. So today's one is a planned exercise. Yeah, but it explains, really we do understand the plight of the people of Trenance Park. They've been suffering. The origin was that shutdown. Yes, Baumgenwater. Yeah. Okay, I think there was another question. Yes, I think the city manager touched on people who say they are getting sick because of the water tankers. I just want to add to what the city manager said, that if you recall, we've been down that road before. There were areas in the central areas where people were saying they were getting sick because of our water. And it's not conclusive. You can't just say, I drank water and therefore my sickness comes from the water. It's not as easy as that. I think the city manager was correct that it's something that needs to be investigated. Was with the other incident, when we investigated where people said the contamination was coming from, and where at the time the challenges were not the same. We investigated and we found the locations were not the same. So, but in this case, we would have to check. We do test the water that we supply through water tankers. Yeah, we test. So it would be something that I really don't know how that would happen, but it would help if we'd get reports, specific reports to say it was, even if you gave us the registration number of the water tanker that you took the water from, just so that then our investigation can be more direct. But it's highly unlikely. But it's good to investigate and get to the bottom of it. Just some figures on the water tankers, because I think there were questions around the water tankers. The budget for this financial year, I'm just giving these indicative figures, was about 146 million. That's how much the city had budgeted for water tankers. Already to date, we've spent, to the end of December, we've spent about 134 million. It just shows that that's when we made those provisions in the budget, that was just planning for what is normal. That you're going to have a best pipe, and while you are fixing that best pipe, there'll be a water outage, and then you'll dispatch a water tanker. But you can see that in half of the year, we've already used the full allocation, and that's because of incidents such as what we are dealing with now. So we've had to seriously and significantly up the allocations of water tankers. So it's not the norm. So we've got about 155 council-owned water tankers, and we've been hiring up to date about 105 water tankers. But I think the mayor alluded to that we are adding another, from tomorrow we're going to add another 50 hired water tankers. So hence then the challenges around budgets. It's really because of the extent of the problem that we are dealing with. So I think those are just some numbers around the water tankers. And I think His Worship will address the issue of the DA, but if I might just add something to that. I'm not going to talk to the DA approaching the Human Rights Commission. I just want to talk to us working with the Human Rights Commission. So I think it was the day before yesterday, we had a meeting with them. They approached us as a city and said, we are seeing these things through the media, and we're not comfortable with what we see in the media. So they came to us as a city and said, explain to us what is happening. And some of the civic organizations were also approaching them. So they quickly organized a meeting, and we've met, a meeting that was convened by the Human Rights Commission. They brought some of the interested parties together, and I think that meeting went well. A resolution that was taken in that meeting is that there's going to be war room meetings that take place twice a week. And the Human Rights Commission is going to be there to oversee those meetings and effectively monitor all the parties, including us as a city, that we are doing what we are supposed to do. So the Human Rights Commission is playing a very proactive role this time around. Yes, they did indicate that they reserve their right to take further action if they have to. So, but at the moment, they're saying, sort out the problem and we will monitor you. So that's the stage at where we are. But His Worship can talk about the other more political side of it. The News 24, I think you asked about that pump station in Komashu. Ntuzuma. Why we waited until now. We did not wait. There's a number of upgrades that we are already working on. Even in Umlazi, there's a major upgrade we are doing in Umlazi, a major overhaul of the pump station of Umlazi. There's a reservoir called Umlazi 2. So if you upgrade that pump station, you stabilize Umlazi. So that project is happening. It's an advanced stage. Similarly, the one of Ntuzuma was already in motion before we had all of these disasters. Again, that project is at an advanced stage. We should be awarding soon, and we'll do a major overhaul of that particular pump station. But I might just clarify that in terms of the long-term plans of the city, you don't really require the pump station in Ntuzuma, the one that I'm talking about, that the mayor said we're going to spend 35 million on, because the water is supposed to be coming from the Western Aqueduct by gravity. So if you get your water through gravity, then you don't need to pump. So there will be no need to pump. That is the long-term plan. However, because of the delays with the Umkomazi Dam, we haven't commissioned it now. We've realized that you still have another 8 years at least before that dam is commissioned, and people will have to have water while we wait for the commissioning of the Umkomazi Dam. It's for that reason that we made a decision to then go and do this upgrade of that particular pump station. So all of that was already in motion before everything that we are talking about as a disaster. So we didn't go out to tender now. We went out to tender some time ago. So we didn't wait. I think that was all from my side.
No, thank you very much, colleagues. I think City Manager and Mr. Msweli have covered a number of issues. Look, the investment you are making to deal with our aging infrastructure is very significant. Tomorrow I'll be in Mpumalanga Township to hand over a project of 250 million rands to deal with our wastewater treatment plant in that township. So it tells you that you are making a very serious investment to fix our infrastructure. In Gwangwetu, we are about to complete the reservoir there. We have put money as a city to ensure that the manner in which we render services to our people. We have just opened Shongweni Dam. Will be very soon opening Mbumbulu Reservoir, which also is going to be making a huge difference in terms of how we deliver water services to communities that do not have access to water. So it's a clear indication and a testimony that the city is taking these issues very serious. We are also undertaking the pipe replacement programs to replace the old pipes in different areas in the city, but it's going to take long because it requires bigger budgets. But we are already on the ground initiating such activities. The allegation about the cholera, I think we need to wait for the scientists. Department of Health have got qualified scientists who declare if there is any disease that is circulating within the area or any other corner of the city. So let's allow them, because it's not right for committee members to declare a cholera. It's for the Department of Health that must declare if there is an indication. You'll recall, as Bamusweli alluded to, the fact that in the areas of the West, there were people who were making such allegations, but it was discovered that there was not even an element of cholera around those areas. So it's important to wait for the scientists who have studied and who are qualified to declare if there is any disease in the city. The issue of the Human Rights Commission, tomorrow I'll be meeting with Commissioner Ntuli. We'll be having a meeting tomorrow here in my office. They've been around. They are not only inquiring because of these floods. They've been around. Our departments have been attending meetings to make presentations on what constitute our responses on a number of challenges that communities are faced with. So they are not pressurized by the DA. They are doing their work. I think we should allow them to do their work. They are not pressurized by any political party, and I think they are doing a very good job. So we must allow them a space. Political parties, all what they need to be doing is also to activate their councillors who are not found on the ground dealing with these challenges to give responses to people. So they must activate their councillors, not to write letters to Human Rights. Human Rights Commission knows what to do, and they are doing exactly what they are expected by the Constitution as a Chapter 9 institution. So they don't need any pressure from any one of us. That is why even in the war room, we gave a directive, city manager, that no politician must participate. Let's allow you as administration to do your job. Because when we get there as politicians, we'll start throwing our own political games in the matter that does not even require politicking. Water issue is an issue that doesn't require any politicking. It's an issue that requires interventions, and those interventions, we are working tirelessly with our teams to ensure that we provide solutions to the challenges. I'll make an example. If you put politics in things, politics will turn around and be directed to you. People were saying in 2022, our beaches, levels of E. coli and wara, but Cape Town, where they were claiming that they are governing very well, they experienced the same last year. We were better than Cape Town last year. So it tells you, don't put politics. The infrastructure does not choose politics. Infrastructure and its aging, it requires collaborations, private sector, the public sector, the communities to work together, and also reduce the levels of vandalism that are taking place to our own assets. So then we'll be in a better position to provide services in a manner that is envisaged. So that is my response on Human Rights Commission. I don't want even to sing about the political party that doesn't even do its work. We are on the ground. We are on the ground. We are on the ground. We are attending to these issues, and we are providing solutions. When the mayor goes to Imbizo, we provide solutions, and those solutions we follow up with our administration if they are yielding positive results. So indeed, with all the interventions that we have suggested here, that we have put in place, the people will be able to observe a big difference in terms of how they receive services from the city. Then the issue pertaining to our readiness for city manager also alluded to this matter. You know, the volume or the quantity of rainfall that you receive, you can't plan for it. That is why scientists said these disasters that we experienced in 2022 were never seen in 200 years, not even in 100 years. Because we were saying in 100 years. Then Vate's investigation discovered that they were never seen in 200 years. So you can't plan for such thing which you are not even able to be in a better position to describe it, how it's going to look like, because these are just disasters. All what we need to be doing is to ensure that we continue with our adaptation programs trying to clear our river streams, rivers and the streams in the city, ensuring that we plant more trees that will also mitigate and ensure that the levels of pollution and air pollution that is taking place, at least the carbon is absorbed through those trees. So there are a lot of interventions, mitigation and adaptation that we need to be engaged on. But for now, it's not to convert ourselves to become the scientists, but we need to be on the ground to provide solutions where the challenges are in our communities. So our scientists will continue to analyze the situation and advance. I just want to make an example. The alert we received from South Africa Weather Council was an indication that on the 13th, you'll only have level 2 rainfall in the city. Because you can't even predict these things. You can try, but you can't predict them in totality. So we're just expecting a mild rainfall on the 13th. But what happened is something which went beyond level 2. So you can't even plan for that because you don't know what you are expecting. So it's important that some of these things we work together with everybody to try and provide solutions. It is not of our own making. We don't create such things. If you say to the mayor, bring the sun, I can't bring the sun. Bring the rain, I can't bring the rain, but it's natural. So it's something that we all need to accept, that we'll need to live with. These are natural disasters. Then I think other matters have been responded to. But one issue which we want to motivate is that the reason why we are adding more water tankers on our side as a city is because the privatized services, the outsourced services, they cost us a lot. So they cost us a lot. So it's better to have your own water tankers, to create employment, to employ your own drivers who will drive these water tankers. And we are happy that our administration, through the city manager, they are taking actions against those who are found conducting fraud and corruption. When the reports come forward for those who are really misusing the resources of our city, going to fill swimming pools instead of providing people with water, so that thing is unacceptable. But we pride ourselves because we've been providing these temporal services even to schools. So we also impacted on the matric results. They wouldn't have been looking like this if we were not providing water tankers in some schools. So we contributed as a city on the quality of results that we have received. And we commend the MEC, the HOD for producing such good results. On Saturday, we'll be conducting our own award ceremony for those who have passed. Please, we also welcome you to join us. We'll be awarding bursaries. We'll be awarding the schools that have improved from 30% to 70, 80%. We'll be awarding schools that have achieved 100% pass mark. So because we want to promote education as a city, and we'll be also awaiting the applications from the applicants, from the deserving families, those who just need an entry fee to enter into the universities. We'll be providing that. We've been doing it for all these years, and we have increased the budgets to respond to that need. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We hope that we've clarified the matters. But one-on-one interviews, I'll allow my officials to deal with these technical issues as a mayor, because I think I've done my work, city manager, of overseeing you and dealing with issues of police and the strategy. So in these technical issues, I allow you to run with them. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your presence.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mayor, and thank you so much, members of the media. We've come to an end of our today's program, and looking to the week again tomorrow. We have a day on our forest project. So we invite you to be part of that journey whereby the services. On the way out, please go pass by the corner there. There's some refreshments for yourself.
Ukuthi bayanizwe ekhaya noma